Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Ian Cameron, taking a look at the opening baseball lines for the game for Wednesday, May 11th. Ian Cameron, the first game that kind of jumps out at me a little bit, maybe I'm not seeing everything I should be seeing, is Baltimore at Minnesota, right? We got Wilson and Hughes has definitely been very hittable, but this game looks to me, to my eye, not really about the pitchers. The pitchers are maybe a wash, maybe there's a small edge one way or the other, but Baltimore's been winning and cashing. Minnesota has not. They're one of the worst teams overall so far in baseball, and it's a very modest line. Actually, Minnesota's a tiny favorite at the moment on the opening line. Baltimore at -102. Why would that not be a good bet? What am I not seeing here, Ian Cameron?
Well, probably the main reason is that Baltimore, cheap as they are in this matchup, is Phil Hughes for is basically Tyler Wilson for the Baltimore Orioles. He's been a little bit of a hit and miss project here as a starting pitcher for this Orioles team. His numbers okay. He's not a guy that's really going to deceive a lot of hitters, but so far, he's gotten along okay in 3 starts, 3 runs allowed or less, in all 3 of those outings against Kansas City, the White Sox, and the Yankees. Now, Minnesota is a team, obviously, that they've had their share of struggles this season. That's an understatement, no question about it. Offensively, it's been really rough going for them. 1-9 in their last 10 games. They've been held to 4 runs or less in each of their last 5 losses. Their pitching has been absolutely pounded. Phil Hughes, one of those guys that has been pounded. 5.85 ERA for Hughes. 1-5 Minnesota in Hughes' 6 starts this season, so they're not winning with Hughes on the mound. That is a big-time issue. Target field, for some reason, has been a problem area as well for Hughes. A 5.19 home ERA, 2 home runs allowed, 2 in this ballpark. So it's been a struggle for Phil Hughes, been a struggle as a team for Minnesota to win baseball games. I think there's going to be a point, actually, where there's going to be some value on Minnesota moving forward. I think they've dramatically underachieved. I think before the season, I expected them to be at least a little bit more competitive and a little bit better than this. As of right now, though, you got to wait to see some evidence of a turnaround with Minnesota before jumping in. So yeah, I wouldn't talk anyone out of leaning to Baltimore here. More than that, though, maybe play this game over the total. Should see some runs in this one.
All right, fair enough. And then the next one that jumped out at me is the Yankees and KC. Now, I was all over the Yankees in the game that Nova started against Chris Young. I'm feeling sort of the same way here about Pineda against Ventura, except maybe a little bit less enthusiastic. Ventura's had 2 straight bad starts, and whenever you see a starter like that, Ventura is notoriously unpredictable, right? So the question is he going to have a 3rd straight horrible start, or is he going to, unexpectedly right the ship? Or is that at least is there a decent chance that we should expect him to be able to right the ship? And the Yankees, the line's a little bit higher. That line for the Nova game was about -115. The opening line here is about -135. But my sense is that Casey struggles with the bats again. Ventura struggles a bit with his command again. Pineda's okay, and the Yankees might be a good bet at -135. What do you think?
Yeah, the price to me not right with the Yankees. They're still not playing good enough for me to be interested laying this kind of wood with them in this particular matchup. That being said, Kansas City's not a team I'm in any rush to back at this point in time either. It's, to me, going to be a game I'm likely not going to get involved with from a side perspective. But for Kansas City, I mean, the Yankees, at least in the last couple games, maybe starting to show signs of coming out of a hitting funk. I mean, last night against Kansas City, they finally got some production. Now, maybe Chris Young, who struggled, fly ball pitcher in Yankee Stadium, sort of benefited the Yankees lineup in that start, but nevertheless, it was a positive sign to see the Yankees finally starting to hit a little bit last night. But Ventura, to me, it's not just him. It's not just a pitching issue with him. It's the whole team and really the disappointment in their own lineup, the Kansas City Royals. This is a team that I've lauded in the past here in previous videos for, being patient, pitching to contact, working counts, and just being very disciplined and sound hitters. And I'm seeing Kansas City this season sort of abandoning that and then just swinging and flailing away at bad pitches routinely. I've seen that up and down their lineup from the Royals in recent games. They've got one guy hitting above 300, and that's Eric Hosmer. That's it. Omar Infante, Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, below 300 average. Alex Gordon, a guy that's really hit well in the past, 233 average, 38 strikeouts. He's just been awful at the plate. Sal Perez, one of the better hitting catchers in baseball in past seasons, he hasn't lived up to that billing here in 2016. He's hitting just 233. He struck out 26 times. Kendrys Morales has disappeared off the face of the earth from an offensive standpoint. So there's nobody hitting right now other than Hosmer in this Kansas City lineup, and that's a big-time problem. And a big reason why they're on this major losing skid right now. I know the bullpen's good, but the bullpen's only going to see a few innings in a game. The starting pitching's been mediocre. The lineup's not hitting. A lot of issues right now with this Royals team. Michael Pineda, I know he's had a couple of problem starts already this season. A little bit of a tricky guy to trust. I don't like that home ERA of Michael Pineda, 6.95 ERA for him here at Yankee Stadium, 17 runs on 33 hits and just 22 innings pitched in 4 starts this season at Yankee Stadium. This ballpark's been a problem for him, but I'm just not sure I trust the Royals to hit. So tough game for me overall, one I'm not going to be involved with in the end.
All right, you think minus 135 is too steep for the Yankees?
It is. I don't want any part of these two teams right now, to be honest. So clear pass for me, Pete. But good luck to you.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and then let's talk about one game that I actually already bet on the overnight line, on the opening line, Ian Cameron. So tell me what you think of this, and don't humor me. Give it to me straight. If you think I made a wrong bet and I should hedge out of it, I will absolutely consider that and maybe go do it. And it's Tampa Bay, Seattle. We have Archer and Walker. Now, Archer, of course, started out the season very shaky. We all knew he was going to turn a corner and turn it around, and he has in his last few starts. And then Taijuan Walker has been basically excellent start in and start out this year. He's coming off of a start we had to leave because of a neck injury, but all the reports that I've read are that he's okay. And the total on this one, I actually got 7.5 minus 118. I took the under. Market wide, it's either 7.5 at about minus 120 or 7 at plus money. Is there any reason not to expect both these guys to have excellent starts again, 6-7 innings, giving up 1 or 2 runs?
I can't talk you out of the under, that's for sure. That's a pretty solid opinion in my that I agree with for sure. I like both of these pitchers. And Archer, you knew it was a matter of time for him to turn things around. It was just there was a little bit of bad luck involved for him. He was, getting hit and the ball was just falling in the right spot, but he's ironed that out. Yeah, walks were a little bit of an issue for him too, and they actually still have been. But the thing is, he's cut down the hits. He's getting the ball on the ground more, keeping the ball down, and as a result, you're getting some feeble swings from opposing hitters, and it was really a matter of time for Archer to bounce back, and he certainly has done that in his last 3 starts. Just fantastic numbers in the turnaround. 2-0, .96 ERA, 2 earned runs allowed in his last 18.2 innings of work, 6 walks to 20 strikeouts. Had a ton of issues early in the season with home runs. 7 on the season he's allowed, just 1 though. For Archer in his last 3 starts allowed. So definitely he's done a better job keeping the ball in the park. He seems to be a lot more confident, has his confidence back. It's like anybody, a shooter in basketball, a quarterback in football. They lose the confidence, and once they get it back, though, and if he's a good player, usually they can go on a run. And that's certainly what we've seen from Chris Archer in the last few starts. But Taijuan Walker, to me, every bit is a bet-on pitcher with Seattle as Chris Archer is right now. Taijuan Walker, especially here in Seattle's been strong. He's really pitched comfortably here at Safeco Field, 2.25 home ERA. Just allowed 6 earned runs in 24 innings of work. He has a 1.97 ERA on the season. Yeah, and you do get concerned with Seattle not giving him run support at times, and that could be the issue here facing Chris Archer. But on the flip side, we know this Tampa Bay Rays lineup, they're not an imposing lineup themselves by any stretch of the imagination. Coming into this game, I mean, they've been held to 4 runs or less in a majority, 7 of their last 10 games. So this is not a potent Rays lineup. When they face quality pitching, they tend to get shut down, and they might be here against a pretty good pitcher in Taijuan Walker. So anyone looking to bet this game under the total, I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of that. Sets up to be probably a lower scoring contest in this one.
All right, and then we got some other interesting games on the card. We got a matchup between Syndergaard and Maeda. We got a doubleheader with the Padres and the Cubs opened as a minus 200 favorite in both games. Is there anything else that you want to bring to our attention from the card of Wednesday, May 11th on the opening lines of baseball?
Yeah, we're going to do quick hitter style. 2 games, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Francisco Liriano, minus 138, the current price, pretty much in that range with the Pirates as a road favorite. The veteran lefty has allowed just 3 runs in 13.2 innings of work over his last 2 outings against the Reds and Cardinals. Now, Pittsburgh has done a pretty good job as well against Cincinnati with Liriano on the mound. In fact, the Pirates 4-0 in Liriano's last 4 starts against the Reds dating back to last season, and 2-0 already this season. Has just matched up well with this team. He could, again, in this matchup. Tim Adelman, on the other hand, he's going to get the spot start for Cincinnati. There's only one reason, Peter, he's in this rotation, because of all the injuries that Cincinnati starting pitchers are undergoing right now. There's a ton of pitchers on the DL. He's got Brian Price has nowhere to go, so he puts Tim Adelman in the starting rotation. Now, he's gotten off to a solid start in 2 starts, 3 runs in 11 innings over his first 2 starts against Pittsburgh and Milwaukee, but this is going to be a second look now for the Pirates in a short period of time against Adelman, and I think they're going to have a much better plate approach against him this time around. And while his ERA on the surface looks good at 2.45, that FIP is 5.25, the xFIP is 4.59, the BABIP is 185, which is incredibly low. It's 98% strand rate, lots of fortune going into Tim Adelman's first 2 starts, and we could see some regression as early as this game here against this Pittsburgh lineup. So I think the minus 138 price tag there, reasonable to lay with the Pirates. And another interesting game is Detroit and Washington, interleague matchup. Jordan Zimmermann taking on Max Scherzer. You know, there's been a few warning signs that I've seen from Max Scherzer this season. For the last, this season and the second half of last year, he's not been the same pitcher as he was when he was dominant early last season. He's been hittable. The walks are up, the strikeouts are a bit down, the swinging strike rate is a bit down. Just some of the peripherals for Max Scherzer aren't really impressing right now, and it's a concern when you're asked to play minus 160, minus 170 in this price range as a favorite. And Jordan Zimmermann, you'd think he's going to come into this start all fired up, facing his former team. He's one of those guys that, for a change, these big pitchers that signed the big-time long-term deal in the offseason, Zimmermann so far has lived up to that for the Detroit Tigers, and I think he's going to have a major chip on his shoulder and motivation to go out there, pitch well against Washington, who, they finally snapped a losing streak after getting swept by the Cubs. They came back to beat Detroit last night in the series opener, but still, it's a lineup that's not been hitting as well in recent games. We might have a live underdog there. That Tigers bullpen is scary. I may put Detroit 5 innings in the 5-inning line in my pocket as well, because that Detroit bullpen can be a little bit of a tricky proposition late in games, but I still think the Tigers could be a live underdog Wednesday night when they take on the Nationals with Jordan Zimmermann on the mound against his former club.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking myself. That was one of my borderline games that I was thinking about asking you about. Ian Cameron, thanks so much.
Thanks, Peter. Enjoy the games and good luck.